what I write, so you have this, you have access to this. And today is 9/9. If something is not clear, please stop me. Okay, so any suggestions on the first page of that handout? Please unmute yourselves and say something. Is anyone with me?
Ma'am, are we working on number 20?
It's up to you. Would you like us to start with number 20?
That's just the first problem I see, so I was just wondering.
That's okay. So 20, 23, 28. Do we need 1? Do we need 2? Anyone? Brendan?
I was just going to say, just go through them all.
Okay. So we have, the first one is number 20. And that is 5 minus quantity 2x minus 1 equals 10. I do have Kevin R and Kevin G. How do you like me to differentiate you? So I know we know exactly who I'm talking about. So
you can just call me Kevin R.
Kevin R, I love it. I love it. One of our part-time faculty professors, his name is Kevin, and I call him Kevin R. Good, awesome. Okay, anyone would like to tell us what to do here? Any suggestions? Anyone, please?
The way that I would start is just start with moving the 5 to the other side, or getting rid of the 5 from the left side by subtracting 5.
It's not a bad idea. However, we are focusing on x. It's okay. It's not a wrong step. I'm just saying I want to see x first. I will clean it up later. I need x. So the first thing I have to do is distribute. So 5 minus 2x plus 1 equals 10. Does everyone understand this step?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Now I will combine like terms, and I have 6 minus 2x equals 10. And now I can clean it up. Only now. Because this is the only term with x. So what will be the next step? Please, anyone?
Subtract 6.
Exactly. We subtract 6 from both sides. Negative 2x equals 10 minus 6, which is 4. Awesome. Can you all see, do you know how to pin the speaker so you can have the entire screen? Does anyone have any difficulties in seeing this? Okay, everyone is quiet, so I'm assuming everything is okay. Good. Can anyone give us the final answer?
Negative 2.
Perfect. Now, I'd like us to identify what type of equation is this. Okay, we did this and that, and we simplified and we distributed, blah, blah, blah. But what type of equation is it? Because if I don't know what type of equation it is, I may not know how to solve it.
Is it linear?
Excellent. Who was that?
Malika.
Malika, thank you. This is indeed a linear equation. Awesome. Good. Any questions on this? Too easy. Okay, perfect. So let's look at 23. So we have 0.9t equals 0.4 plus 0.1t. See, there is a difference between these two. Here I had to simplify a little bit before deciding what the next step is. But here there is nothing to simplify. Remember, the focus is the variable. I don't look at the free terms before I clear the variable. First, the variable. I shouldn't say never, this is my suggestion. I should not look at this. It's a free term. It can wait patiently. I'm focusing on t. So what do I do?
First, you multiply both sides by 10 to get rid of the decimals.
Okay, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Good. So then I have 9t equals 4 plus t. Awesome. Great job. Not a bad idea at all. Good. Our next step. Thank you. See, if everyone contributes, I don't have to ask any or ask a particular student to say anything. Next step.
Subtracted t.
Yes. When I subtract t, I get 8t equals 4. Finally, t equals Axel. Yes. Wesley, Charles, I haven't heard from you yet. I know you said it, but I talked over you. My apologies.
0.5.
4 divided by 8, so t equals 1/2. 0.5 is not wrong. We prefer fractions. Good. And the last one, that is 28. And of course I didn't ask, but this is the same thing. It's a linear equation. So we have x plus 2, x minus 3 equals x minus 3 squared. Any suggestions on this problem? First of all, you can say, but this is not linear. At this stage, it's not. I agree. But what is it at this stage? Later on, it may turn into a linear. But at this stage, what is it? Anyone, please?
Quadratic.
It is quadratic at this stage. Excellent. Good. Any suggestions on how to address this problem?
Multiply it out.
Perfect. That's a perfect option. Here's another option. The other option is simplify both sides by x minus 3. But if I simplify both sides by x minus 3, I have to state a restriction. So first, let's look at possibility A. The suggestion was multiply this, multiply this. Perfect. Can anyone give us the steps for multiplying x plus 2 by x minus 3? And I will write it down.
You multiply x and x,
Good.
and then you multiply x and negative 3,
Good.
and then you multiply the 2 by the x.
Good. Perfect. Now, can anyone give us this? X minus 3, everything squared. And how many terms do I have to write? When we square a binomial, how many terms do we get? Axel, how many? Wesley, Charles, how many?
Is it 3?
Yes! Excellent. I want to see 3 terms. Excellent. That's all I wanted to hear. Thank you. So, anyone? Can anyone give us those 3 terms?
X squared minus 6x plus 9.
Excellent. First term squared minus 2 times the first times the second plus the second term squared. Awesome. And look what happens now. Remember, we focus on the variable. Ah, excellent. I combine these two, I get negative x. I have minus 6 and I have negative 6x plus 9. So the initial quadratic equation collapsed into a what type of equation?
Linear.
Excellent. It collapsed into a linear equation. Great job. Good. So how do I solve this? Remember, what I would like you to remember is when I move a term from one side to the other, it changes its sign. When I move a term from one side to the other, it changes its sign. So the negative 6x becomes positive 6x. The negative 6 becomes positive 6. Finally, x equals. Anyone please ask any questions? Is this okay? Blake, is this okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Any questions, please? Please ask. Thank you. So the final answer is?
3.
So the other option, as I mentioned, we could have factored out, not really simplify, because we did get x equals 3, right? So we can factor it out. So I have x plus 2, x minus 3. I move this term to the other side. And I will factor out the common factor. Can anyone tell us the common factor? What is it? What is the common factor of this term and this term?
X minus 3.
That's it. And now, from here, x plus 2 is left. Minus. From here, I took 1 outside, so there is 1 left over. So x can be 3, which I get this. But now I have to simplify this piece, which is x plus 2 minus x plus 3, which could be 0. Not so fast, because 5 cannot be 0. And again, we get the exact same result. If we had simplified it, as I mentioned, we would have had to say, okay, can x be 3? Yes. But then we would have gotten the same option, which is this. Okay, perfect. Moving on. So these were linear equations. The last one was quadratic, but it collapsed into a linear after simplification. Any questions? Okay, so I'm sharing my screen again, and here, but nobody can see it because I didn't switch the camera. Okay, now I switch the camera now. Good. So we looked at these problems. Now we're continuing with these. I changed this problem, and I'll explain why. This problem has 3 different denominators, and there's nothing wrong with it, and we'll discuss it if you want. We will even work on it if you want. So we have let's start with the first one and then move on. I'd like to change it only because it's a cumbersome situation, and we will work on it. It's up to you, of course. Okay, so let's start with this one. So that's number 40, and this is 2x over x plus 3 equals negative 6 over x plus 3 and minus 2. I'll stop sharing, change the camera, and here we are, and that's minus 2. Now we have to identify the type of equation. We already looked at kind of, sort of, 2, linear, quadratic. Now, what type of equation is this? Anyone would like to give it a shot?
Rational?
Yes, excellent. Yes, because it has a ratio and it has x in the denominator. 1/2 x is not rational. This is linear. There is no x in the denominator. But 5 over x plus 3, 2x over x plus 3, -6 over x plus 3. These are rational expressions. Therefore, this equation is a rational equation because it has x in the denominator. Perfect. Good. So, looking carefully here, and we notice that the denominator is the same. X plus 3 here and x plus 3 here. So we only have one expression in the denominator. We have to, this is a must, we have to write that the denominator cannot be 0. If this were different, I would have put both of them here. If I had 3, I would have put 3 conditions, 3 different conditions. Can anyone tell us why do we have to state this restriction on x? Which
If the denominator becomes 0, the whole fraction becomes undefined.
Excellent. Any number, not 0. Excellent. Who was that?
It was Elijah.
Thank you. So a number divided by 0 is undefined. 0 divided by 0 is something else. You have to wait till Calc 1. It's called something else. It's called an indeterminate case. We don't need to talk about that. But a number not 0, any number not 0, this is a special case. Any number divided by 0 makes the expression or the fraction undefined. That's the reason why for this function or fraction to exist, the denominator cannot be 0. For this fraction or expression to exist, the denominator cannot be 0. There is no problem here because the denominator is 1. Perfect. Now we notice that these two are the same. How will you proceed? What will be your next thought? How will you proceed? Anything? Any questions or any suggestions?
Multiply each fraction by the denominator?
It's a good idea. I agree. However, because these two are the same, first I will move it to the other side. I will move this fraction to the other side. But yes, I completely agree with that step. I just want you to see a different option. So I have 2x over x plus 3. This negative in front of the numerator, because there is a plus in front of this denominator, I can rewrite it in this way, first of all. So a negative over positive is negative. Then I will move this term, expression, that has a negative sign in front of it to the other side and becomes positive. So 2x over x plus 3 plus 6 over x plus 3 equals -2. I like this because I can write it in this format. Now let's look at this expression carefully. Does anyone notice anything? And don't say anything, just 1 second. Let me